get that big city atmosphere, but with a relaxed feeling.
Kansas City is a place that's really hard to leave.
The people here are amazing. I just think it's a perfect city.
There's so much that we can do here in the middle of the country, and I think that surprises people.
There's a quote I often like to say that if you want to know what happened, read a history book. If you want to know how it affected people, look at the artwork. My work is primarily expressionist, directly connected to jazz music, my background and my heritage. I was introduced to art in kindergarten. I remember on some field trips, we went to the Nelson Art Gallery. And one of the things I like most about the Nelson is that it has such a wide range of art. It's like an art history class in one building. Jazz came into my life basically through an uncle, Clifford Smith, who played with many jazz groups. When I paint my pictures, the dynamic of diversity in jazz music comes through as I listen to it. The mixtures of sounds, the combinations of instruments. I think they come out into different brush strokes and colors and angles that are evident in the work. When I'm looking for inspiration, I'll grab my sketch pad and I'll go to one of my favorite local places and I'll just sketch to the music.
I've been playing the saxophone since I moved here at age 10. It's the first thing I did. The jazz history here is very strong, and also a heavy blues thing. The blues sort of mixed with jazz, basically jazz with a groove. Because of where you are, that's why the music was created. It's an equation of that. Music expresses things you really can't say, a vibratory emission to get those points across. What I do like about Kansas City, whatever you like, there's something here for you. It's still open. There's still opportunities for a lot of new ideas to be created, invested in, and built upon. At least as far as music, which I know the most about. Of course, the barbecue, everyone has their thing about that. Hometown barbecue, it's kind of like analog sound and digital sound. Analog sound has all this chaos in it, but that's also what makes it great.
The history of barbecue here in Kansas City is real, and its tradition is very rich. On one hand, it's a sauce, which historically is made up of sweet tomato and molasses. On the other hand, it's the type of meats we barbecue. With all the new barbecue restaurants in this town, we're kind of becoming the retro thing. Arthur Bryant's roots go back to the early 1900s with the father of Kansas City barbecue, Henry Perry. Back then, Mr. Perry sold from a pit where people would pay 25 cents for hot meat smoked over oak and hickory, wrapped in newsprint. People like Mickey Mantle, Carl Yastrzemski, the Rat Pack, the names go on and on of people that have come in through here over the years. I think Calvin Trillin wrote a piece for Playboy calling Arthur Bryant the single greatest restaurant in the world. When you didn't have social media, that's kind of what set him apart from everybody else. We're in the people business. We just use food to make the cash register ring. And it's always about people. All right.
The man in the bar lives on, a story of beer, love, marriage, and more beer.
I get to work at a tavern and serve people drinks and give back to the community. Life doesn't really get much better than that, so. My grandfather came over from Ireland in the 1920s, and in 1947, he started what was then known as the Westport Inn. He bartended so often and was so loved that people started calling the place Kelly's. There are 4 Kellys that have worked here combined well over 100 years. My dad and Uncle Pat still work here. In 2012, me and my brother Mitch became 3rd-generation owners, and now the 4 of us run the bar. People often ask us what we attribute the success of Kelly's to, and I feel like the answer is really that people like consistency. At the end of the day, people want to see familiar faces and to drink cold beer and to have really good conversation. For a lot of people, this is where they come and we're like their family. We're a super accepting city. There's people from all different walks of life. It's definitely a melting pot.
Kansas City is a jazz town. I grew up around jazz. It really influenced me to be free-flowing. I feel like jazz is kind of poetry without words, and I try to make poetry with words. When I write, I like to be isolated. One of my favorite spots is the Parkville Nature Sanctuary. It's truly peaceful. I can kind of like freestyle and kind of mold sentences or bars together that make sense.
Mama and Papa work hard for the kids, so I gotta get them a crib.
Nothing really matters, like Lauren said. You really think I worry about the town now?
In my process of making a song, I'll get a beat. I'll try to come up with a way to explain how that makes me feel. Like a little catchy chorus, write my verses.
Turn myself into a town topic. Now every beef gets ground down.
As an artist in Kansas City, I have a great support system that I've built over the years. 2 of my main producers I met in high school. I'm just trying to touch as many people as I can with my music. This is a market that's willing to give someone a chance. So I definitely plan on being that person that they give a chance. So.
I've always knew Kansas City as a food town, but it wasn't really known for locally owned chef restaurants. I started my cooking when I was 15, never left the kitchen. My husband, Colby Gerald, him and I together moved to Las Vegas, and then from there, Los Angeles. And after a little while of working under 2 James Beard Award-winning chefs, we came back to Kansas City, which is my husband's hometown, to pursue our dream of opening our own restaurant. Blue Stem is a fine dining restaurant. We do a mix of Americana flavors, a modern vision of Midwestern tasting menus.
We wanted kind of a hybrid mix of ultra fine dining, but at the same time on a really approachable level. Historically, this was the middle of the United States. So the stockyards, which are down in the West Bottoms, all the cattle from Texas, they drove it up here and then they loaded it on the rail cars and they shipped it out to the East and West Coast. So when we came back here, I really wanted to kind of embrace that history and make a fine cuisine from that.
It's a great place to be and live and cook.
I don't want anyone to know about it. No, I'm just kidding. I think it's a really nice little hidden gem.
There's plenty of space for everyone to come in and enjoy themselves.
It's home and its roots.
It's just a wonderful place to make friends and to raise a family.
Kansas City is a mixture of cultures, lifestyles. It's all here.